From the Kaiser Permanente Studios, because it says so right there, Kaiser Permanente. Wall Pass Wednesday here, SDH AM. John here, you there. Thanks for dropping by, as you always do. Full show. And we go Leagues Cup crazy because it did. So we'll get into a lot of that. We'll get into all the matches from last night, get you set up for today. As we are in the middle of match day threes, we'll let you know who's out, who's not, what the math is, and there's going to be math. Trust me on this, especially in the MLS side at this point. So we got a lot of highlights to hear from some of the coaches post-match. And as we said in social media in letting you know about the show, Leagues Cup After Dark did not disappoint. And so Dylan Butler set to join us at 10 o'clock, and we'll go over all of that with him because, yeah, it was crazy. And especially in Vancouver and Tigres. And we have the proof for you in that one. So you'll get some of the highlights from the matchups yesterday. We'll set up what's going on today. We'll let you know what's going on with the standings. And Leagues Cup-a-Palooza continues. Dylan Butler set to join us at 10 o'clock, 10:30. It'll be Kaylor Hodges from the USL show. We caught up with him, and we got to examine everything going on in USL. And there's a lot. Problems in Oakland. Interesting deviation in Birmingham. Atletico Dallas, we finally get the chance to discuss the Chicharito signing with Kaylor. And then you got the USL Super League kicking off this weekend. And you have all of these teams and all the chaos that was attached to the playoffs and getting in and chasing after championship as they reorient their schedule. They're going to go metric here in a bit. So their schedule is fall, and then it gets through, and then they hook back up with everybody else. And so Super League, League One, USL Championship, a lot of the stuff there in the final half hour with Kaylor. Dylan Butler joining us at 10. Leagues Cup, all your news, getting you ready for everything that's going on today, what to watch, all your rumors. That's here in hour number one here on a Wall Pass Wednesday, plus whatever is on your collective mind when it comes to anything and everything going on in and around the planet. So opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. Starting your day with the most important stories in the game. Right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community. Showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend made with beans from Brazil, Guatemala, heavy-bodied, notes of walnut, semi-sweet chocolate, and a rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff, powered by Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. So you have all of the action that went on yesterday, and just to kind of keep an eye on what's going on. We have been keeping an eye on what's going on in Colombia. Their league play resumes on Friday, and there are some matches that are going to be relocated, obviously, because they were in the part of the country that was affected and that is affected by the earthquake that happened earlier this week. So keep an eye on that, and obviously send your love down to everybody there that might be close to you, and just keep an eye on what's going on with all of that. But right now, once again, everything is set to be pushed to Friday when it all rolls back in. So we'll keep an eye on all of that. Matthias Geisler was introduced about his new job at Newcastle. He feels optimistic despite what happened in the offseason. And so you'll keep an eye on him and his new gig. Olivia Moultrie out for the season with an ACL injury with Portland Thorns. And, man, it's wild to think about how many years Olivia Moultrie has been a pro. 20-year-old injured right knee in training, 5+5, and she is this season likely to miss the CONCACAF W Championship. And this was announced yesterday once again, posting it to Instagram. Signed in with Portland in 21, successfully suing the NWSL back then about signing players under the age of 18. 18 appearances for the UF, 5 goals. Young Player of the Year in 23. But Olivia Moultrie out for the season with an ACL injury with Portland Thorns. And so, obviously, we'll keep an eye on all of that. Let's get you into all of the other gossip, rumor, and innuendo this morning, all the signings, all the stuff you need to keep an eye on. And it's you look at Turkey, and they're spending a lot of money. A lot of different folks spending a lot of money. And it's wild to think about. So the most recent round of gossip, rumor, and innuendo. Morning, Nix. Morning, Ricky. And what is my intrepid producer, Ricky Ricardo, giving me this morning? Is that what I think it is? Because I have a story that's kind of out there. And so we'll see if his story. No, it is not about South Korea. And we do need to mention that briefly. So we will, as a part of what's going on here this morning. And there was something that happened in South America, and it was absolutely nuts from our friends at TAC, and I thought that's where you were going, but we have that too. So your trending rumors, as we have them. Enzo Maresca, once again, widely reported to one Enzo Fernandez. Publicly open to leaving Stamford Bridge this summer. Fabrizio Romano reporting Chelsea's desires of a £120 million transfer fee, the main hurdle. Who knew? Keen to keep him. Romano also reports Maresca keen to sign Pedro Neto as a possible replacement for Savinho. Spurs have laid the groundwork with Monaco to get Flair and Balogun, could be worth an estimated €60 million, according to L'Equipe. Newcastle, the only other club named in the report. Fabrizio Romano also adding Galatasaray and the Saudi Pro have also called about Balogun in recent days. Miles Lewis-Skelly offered to Manchester United as Arsenal look to recover some of the £75 million they spent on Bruno Guimaraes, according to The Guardian. They've been made aware of his availability. Not clear if the Blues will make a move, with his value expected to be around $45 million. Lewis Hall, still the primary left-back option for United. Gisela determined for the 21-year-old to stay, having already lost Guimaraes, Sandro Tonali, and Anthony Gordon. Sorry, Alex. Al Nassr showing an interest in Mikey Maignan as questions arrive with his future at AC Milan, according to Gazzetta. Face-to-face meetings clarifying the respective points of view with Maignan and Milan. Al Nassr looking for a new number one to replace Bento. No word on if Mikey Maignan is even interested. Ferran Torres, once again, we're getting closer. Permission to stay away from the training ground while they negotiate the transfer to PSG. Due to return to work today with 3 weeks off. Barca remaining optimistic, completing the signing of Manchester City midfielder Rodri. Also plan to offer Marc Bernal an improved contract. A source told the four-letter. Barca failed with their first bid of around €50 million. Rodri last week remain in negotiations. Chelsea completes the signing of Rayo Vallecano left-back Pep Chavarria in a £16.3 million move. Crystal Palace signed Evan Gesson on a season-long loan from Villa with an option for permanent transfer. Manchester City have signed Hero Rulli from Marseille. Club have confirmed. Argentina international moved to the Etihad up to €2 million, €1.75 million fixed. It's a 2-year deal. Dusan Vlahovic has reached a verbal agreement with Besiktas from Florian Plettenberg at Sky Germany. Matteo Moretto, Fenerbahce. As we mentioned, all of these Turkish Pro League clubs spending money. They've got an agreement for Lukaku to join them over €6 million plus bonuses. €6 million plus bonuses. Spurs have shown an interest in Atalanta center back Giorgio Scalvini. That's from Nicola Shearer. The Mirror has United considering opening talks with Club Brugge about a potential £30 million deal for Joaquin Seys. Fabrizio Romano, once again, Zion Suzuki looks like that's going to go through from Parma to PSG for €35 million. A view to immediately loan him to Juventus. Florian Plettenberg again from Sky Germany. Dortmund on the verge of sending an offer worth €50 million plus 5 for Cologne winger Said El Mala. Already agreed to personal terms. Sky Sports Italia, Rome have reached a verbal agreement with Porto for a loan for Rodrigo Mora worth around €7 million, including an option to make the deal permanent, becoming mandatory under conditions. Matteo Moretto, Como won't give up on signing Moise Kean from Fiorentina. They're going to make new contacts soon. Moretto again, Lazio negotiating with Inter Milan to sign David Fertesi on a loan that includes a conditional obligation to buy. Everton want to bring Kyle Walker back to the Prem following his relegation with Burnley. That's from the three-letter paper. Napoli expected to advance in their efforts to bring Benoit Badiashile from Chelsea. Negotiations underway, loan being discussed for Fabrizio Romano there. Nicola Shearer, Juve ready to increase their offer for Bologna center back Jean-Luc Umi to €20 million, have offered to loan Juan Cabal with an option to make the deal permanent. Romano again. Chelsea open to loan proposals on Mykhailo Mudryk. Winger's preference is to join a Premier League club despite interest from Strasbourg and Italian clubs. So, all right. So if Strasbourg is part of the family and you want to get a player that's part of the family, do you just sit there and say, yeah, we're interested? That should be the easiest transfer on the board. Oh, one of the clubs that's also a part of our deeper umbrella is interested. Should be one and done, basically. That's just me. It's like every time I hear Strasbourg interested in a player from Chelsea, I'm like, well, you're under the same family. Yeah, we'll take him. Well, I mean, yeah, you would think so. Brentford ready to make a fresh move for West Ham left back El-Hadji Malik Diouf, preparing a package for £40 million from Team Talk. And then Nicola Shearer, the Braille and Bolo sweepstakes continues. He's been offered to Como, and reflections are now underway. Let's reflect. Let's reflect, shall we? Let's reflect. Do we wish Braille and Bolo? Let's reflect. There we go. So morning, Abby. Morning, David. Morning, Ricky. Morning, Nix. And let's see. Morning, Alex. Yes. Exactly, David. They have to pretend it's market value. So, it's like, Are we interested? Yes, we're interested. We're interested, but you're part of the same family. Yeah. And, it's like, well, what's it worth to you? Well, we'll pay market value. So there you go. All right. So that's your gossip, rumor, and innuendo on the international scale. Let's check with our normal sourcing and see what we're missing. Ben Jacobs has been profoundly busy this morning. It's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. It's like every 2 seconds, Ben has something else going on. So Tosin Adebayo drawing interest from Benfica and a number of Premier League clubs right now with Chelsea. Enes Unal set to join Getafe from Bournemouth, sanctioned a free transfer, could earn up to €1.5 million in bonuses, 20% sell-on for Bournemouth. Everton's Martin Sharif has been charged with breaching the FA's betting rules, alleged that the player breached FA Rule E1.2 in respect of 61 bets placed on football matches between 20 November 24 and 12 February 26. Martin Sharif has until Monday, 17 August to provide a response. So 5 days. 61 bets in 3.5 months. Well, almost 4. And so Martin Sharif charged with breaching FA betting rules. 61 bets. I wonder how many of those were just Premier League and hanging around. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, 61 bets placed on football matches in a 4-month period. In a 16-month period, November of 24 to February 26. So 16, so 3.5, 4 bets a month on average. So he has 5 days to provide a response to the FA. We mentioned Barca improving their bid to Rodri at 55. Let's see. Barca have offered, according to Alex Crook, guaranteed €60 million. Geronimo Rulli, we know this is official because he's holding up a jersey with his name on it. Wolves advancing on signing Jordan James from Rennes, spent last season on loan at Leicester. Leicester, by the way, has posted or has made available a packet, an attachment, a PDF file about the sale of Leicester and a sister club. So it looks like the Svida Hanapraba family has looks like they're kicking the tires on a sale for Leicester City now that they are in the championship. We mentioned Evan Gesson, mentioned Ferran Torres, Jan Hyuk from Spurs joining KVC Westerlo in a season-long loan. Ipswich in agreement on Julio Enciso from Strasbourg, move driven by Gary O'Neill, who once again was the head coach at Strasbourg. 6 months on loan at Portman Road in 25. We mentioned Dusan Vlahovic, and that's a 3-year deal, according to Jacobs. Chavarria joins from Rayo Vallecano to Chelsea, €19 million plus add-ons. He is, how do we know this is official? Chavarria is leaning over a golf shirt. No contract, but he is smiling, and he is leaning over a Chelsea golf shirt. So 19 million euro plus an add-on in the package. And let's see, that keeps everything up for international. Let's see if David Ornstein can move the meter here and add to anything that we have been discussing this morning. Let's see. Let's go here. And Lucas Gorna-Duoth undergoing medical, joining Hull from Salzburg. 23-year-old defensive midfielder, 4 million euro plus personal terms on a 5-year deal through 2031. Wrexham pursuing a deal to sign Henrik Falconer from Viking Stavanger. 2 offers rejected. 23-year-old center back, latest worth 9.5 million euro, including bonuses. Viking want to keep the Norwegian international for the European campaign. And let's see, Ferran Torres and Union Saint-Gilloise. Okay, so that's it from Ornstein. See if there's anything from Tom Bogert. It appears that Xavier Gozo is getting closer and closer to being officially official over at Crystal Palace. $15 million fee, club record for RSL, set to join him soon. Whitecaps finalizing a deal to acquire Canadian youth international midfielder Emmerich Fotsing from CPL side Vancouver FC. Fee in the region of $400,000. Several other MLS teams wanted the Montreal Academy talent. Could finish the season in the CPL before joining Whitecaps in the winter. And we talked about Alexis Sanchez yesterday, and we're going to reserve Alexis Sanchez for that's right. Double relegation. Thank you, Nix. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah. So Top hasn't put any money in years, and it's been pretty bad. So that is the latest on all of the switches and all the things that are going on. Support, if you would, your favorite college program. Large or small, doesn't matter the division, doesn't matter classification. Seasons are starting today. We had Tony Economopoulos on yesterday. They are in Jackson, Mississippi. They're kicking off at a little after 4 o'clock Eastern time in their matchup against Jackson State. We're catching up on what's going on the men's side for Mercer, and that's going to be played tomorrow morning in the Power Hour. We're going to be on early, 8:30 to 9:30, and should be from the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground. And that will lead you into the media match, the annual media match. It's going to be at ATLUTD.com/live. Mike and Jason upstairs. I'll be downstairs harassing people. And that'll be your Thursday. So it is going to be Power Hour tomorrow, 8:30 to 9:30, media match at 10. So that's the rundown tomorrow. So set your notifications. We're going to be on a little early. We'll find out about Mercer, get you Leagues Cup going. And it'll be a Power Hour till about 9:30, and then we'll get you ready for the media match, and then go to ATLUTD.com/live for the media match, where you can either laugh or clap and applaud at your favorite media member. So that's at that time of year, and it is tomorrow at the ATLUTD.com YouTube channel. So there's that. Morning, Dell. Morning, Rich Ransom. No, Rich, it really hasn't. The pro rel comment, because I know it's been making the rounds, but what I would suggest is this. I would listen to the press conference, the interview in its entirety. It's not something where you're going to lay it all out and go. It is not a soundbite thing. It is not a soundbite kind of device that you want to sit there and you can't. What I'm trying to say is you can't pin it into 25 or 30 seconds. And so what I'm going to recommend is that you listen to you find the quote on the whole. And I'm trying to see if the availability was posted yesterday, and I believe it was, and this will be the last thing in opening kickoff. Let me see if I can have to just open up another window here. And yeah, and that's the thing. And what I'm not going to do is it's like I said, it's not a soundbite kind of a thing. It's not something that you can sit there and go, okay, well, yeah, here's your soundbite. No, it is literally what I want to play. I would play the whole thing, and so that's how I would relay what was said. And I know that there's a lot of that there are a lot of folks who want to sit there and look at highlights and things like that and go, well, here's what, and it's not 20 seconds worth of, it's not a 20-second worth thing, because one of the things that we like to do here, and everybody knows this, is give context. And so, the notion behind it was that from Junior Alonso is that the mental approach from players is different because there's no pro rel involved. And so what I would suggest is find it in its entirety, because it's larger than that. It's not, it is an observation early on in a relationship with a player and his new club. And the energy is different, but it's not, how do I phrase this? It's a different energy. There are things in play, but the energy attached to promotion relegation, I understand in circles, is different to certain folks. But this is Junior Alonso's first interaction in Major League Soccer. And so the energy that is placed into this is different. So that's how I'm going to, until there is the full breakdown of everything, then that's how I'm going to literally just sit here and, not the same pressure. And the soundbite that is sticking with folks is where Junior Alonso says, if there was a team in South American Atlanta United situation, and their cars would be burned. Yeah. So context is important. Context is important. And so that's why I'm not going to play just like a 10-second thing. We don't do that here. So that was what was said. And once again, it's Junior Alonso adjusting to how you're breaking everything down when it comes to your first time with a new team. So if you go back to Jason's training ground notebook, when Junior Alonso was there along with Luke Brennan, I'll read you the quotes. Wasn't looking for an excuse after Philly. On the last two goals, the opponent was better, right? In football, everything is decided in seconds and millimeters. The opponent was able to take advantage of the chances we gave them. That's why they scored those goals and beat us. And then in the locker room that day, we were sad because we'd made a great effort playing with 10 men to score 2 goals. Unfortunately, we couldn't hold on to the result and ended up losing. But since then, the week has been very productive. We've worked well. Spirits have lifted again, and now all we can do is focus on Saturday's match. Adjustment to Major League Soccer and the transition. From my point of view, teams don't finish their chances, so that lets the opposing team attack again. When we win the ball back, we do the same thing, and that leads to the game being played this way and creating more space. The forwards stay up here, defenders stay back there. There's a gap in the middle, and that's the level we're playing at. I think that's usually how the games go, and the results don't lie. You watch the games, they end 3-4, 4-3, 5-4 most of the time because all the opponents play that way. And so here is the quote in full. I don't say this with any pride, but I was telling some of the teammates here, there are leagues where if you're in the situation, you can't go out to dinner, you can't take your kids to school, they'll burn your car if you go down the second division. That creates an incentive to push yourself to improve. It seemed surprising to some of the younger players here, since it's not something common. I've already been through that, and I know the only way out of it is to trust the coach's ideas and take them to the fullest to get out of this situation. And when he was asked on the transfer chatter, most important thing, I think, is that the players who are currently at the club need to want to be here, right? It's a complicated situation we're in, and we need everyone here to bring the best energy. The most important thing from my point of view is that the 20 or 22 players who are here today are all on the same page with the same mentality, working every day to get Atlanta out of that spot. So that's the larger quotes that folks may not be looking at. I'm looking past that section because everybody else seemed to stop right there. And that's why what we do, we go further down the page. We give the story the space to breathe. So it has its full paragraph instead of, well, he talked about this. That's why what we do here is, and we have the space to do it, fortunately. That's why I wanted to find the entire quote from Junior Alonso and not just give you the headliner and go, well, he said this, and then everybody gravitates to that, but doesn't listen to the rest of what was said. So that's why that's why I specifically, and everyone, and if you're new here, have not seen ref assignments yet. Have not seen ref assignments yet, Abby. And when we do, we'll go over all the people's. That's why with me, specifically here on the morning show, when we're doing stories that appear written form on the .net, and by the way, you can get Morning Espresso. You go to the read section at soccerdownhere.net. There's a box to subscribe to Morning Espresso, brought to us also by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. That's our morning newsletter. That's everything that Jason sees in the overnight, and he's like, oh, we need to know about this. So subscribe to that if you haven't. But having AM being the depth that it is, and this year we've broken the 4-minute mile. We have broken the sound barrier. We've done the 3-hour show. That's why I have always wanted to give you a longer soundbite than just the 20 seconds. If it's a minute and a half, it's a minute and a half. If it ends up being a coach that doesn't talk a lot and it's 25 or 30 seconds, I may go a couple of answers in a press conference to see if things expand. So everyone, when you heard about that original quote from Junior Alonso, it was just that section. But there was more to it. And that's why when you're here, that's why we go longer with quotes so you get full context and understand where someone's coming from and where they're going to. Not just that slam section in the middle that everybody gravitates toward. And you're like, oh, he talked about this. Well, yes, he did, but there's more to it. And that's why I wanted to find the entire length of the soundbite that Junior Alonso gave, because it wasn't just about what everybody has been saying about the stuff in the middle. Going to dinner, going to school, and the car. There's more to it than that. And so that's why we've always prided ourselves here on the full section, the full quote in a press conference setting. We'll play longer sound bites. We'll give you context. What Junior Alonso said was more than just the middle. That's why we like to do the beginning and the end. So that's the whole. This is a reminder about our DNA. It's a reminder about how we present things here. Because if you just do the middle, it's a gotcha, and we don't do that. So you got to see the whole thing. You got to hear the whole thing. And then that's where it goes. So, yes, Junior Alonso said what he said, but there was more at the beginning of it, and then there was more after it. That's what we do. So there you go. Bart is on vacation. But we did do kind of a reffing down here when we were discussing the U20s, and I'm sure that Bart was seething as he was watching the match. So we have not talked to Bart about it. Bart is on vacation this week, and so when Bart comes back on Monday, we'll see if he's still seething about it. And Abby, absolutely. Breathing is important. You have to hear all of it put in context, and that's what we do here. We don't just mention the part about the car. We've got to talk about Him saying it with, I don't say this with any pride. Literally, that's how he starts the soundbite, that particular section. And he also says about the 20 or 22 players getting the same mentality and working every day to get Atlanta out of that spot. That's the beginning and the end. In the middle, he talks about all the stuff that teams face. There was more to it than the middle. And that's what we do here. All right. Opening kickoff brought to it. Yeah, exactly. Vacation. What is this, Del? Opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee, blackpitchcoffee.com. Starting your day with the most important stories in the game, the right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community, showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend made with beans from Guatemala, heavy bodied, notes of walnut, semi-sweet chocolate, and a rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. Okay. All right. Paulo Diaz, by the way, has his visa and is available. Mauricio Romero is still waiting on his. So that's your lawyer and updates when it comes to everything going on involving Atlanta United as they get Red Bulls here this weekend. Okay. League's Cup-a-Palooza. We're going to start at the beginning and break it all down for you. So here is what happened in order last night, because we're going to kind of save Vancouver, and we're going to save Vancouver and Tigres to the end because it was the last match played, A, and B, just because it was off the rails on its own. So we'll start at the beginning and work our way forward. Last night, it starts with Columbus, and they were kind of busy taking on Pumas. Team 17 hosting Team 29 and wasting no time out of the blocks within the first 10 minutes. Crew get a goal on the board. This is Nate McCady, Devin Kerr, Apple TV, Leagues Cup.
Set piece attacking has been a priority for Courtois. Columbus got a goal on a corner kick in their last match, in again by Mendez. And this one's headed into the back of the net. Columbus continue to be a threat from set pieces, and this time it's Torum Karamanchi. 1-0 Columbus.
But what a pickup this young man has been, and it's been a long time coming.
Karamanchi gets the goal. We've seen him at Crew 2. Angulo gets a goal at 45. Herrera gets a red in the 73rd. They go to PKs. Columbus gets the extra point. I feel like I'm talking about MLS Next Pro all of a sudden. MLS, so the extra point in Leagues Cup goes to Columbus, so they get 2 points out of the deal. After the match, here is Laurent Courtois with our friend Chris Doran, courtesy of the Crew, their own selves.
No, that's the credit to Nico for his performances and his top level. But we're lucky at the club to have 4 high-level goalkeeper with Bush and Prudo that's coming strong, fast too. So Columbus Crew in terms of goalkeeping are a really good spot.
A lot of coaches talk about lessons learned from results that could be better than expected. What would be one of the lessons that you take from this performance tonight that you think will be a point of emphasis in the future?
A few stuff, the way, because we integrate a lot of new staff members too, so the way we're able to synchronize the scouting, the strategy, and the new players to adapt those little. So I'm really pleased with a lot of aspects of new people integrated and formula. We talked about how we revisit the set pieces and the format of the way we work on them and the way that everybody knows his role and believes that they can have an impact. So really pleased with a lot of stuff behind the scenes, stuff that we don't see, but we believe that we, stone by stone, we're putting something that's going to be interesting in the future.
Laurent Courtois after the match last night, and so the extra point goes to Crew. We'll go over the math here coming up in a bit. Second match on the board was at TQL. Team 6 in Cincinnati taking on Team 32 in Atlas. And really all you've got to say is banger, and you kind of know where we're going here. Another match, another banger. Kanji and Danny on the call. FC Cincinnati on a roll.
Signal by Evander on the in-swinger. Vargas to punch that ball away again. Live ball in the 18. Cincinnati recycles, played out wide, taken here. Evander goes for it, fires and scores. He's done it again. And just like that, Cincinnati with the 1-0 lead. It is the 8th time in all competitions this season he scored from outside the box. Simply unstoppable.
Now, it's rinse and repeat. First of all,
Kanji and Danny on the call. Evander with a banger, but 2 goals in 6 minutes. And FC Cincinnati loses to Atlas, Team 32. Monzon in the 79th, Serrato in the 85th. Atlas comes from behind for the win, 2-1. So, like I said, we'll keep an eye on the math. We'll let you know what's going on there in a bit. Minnesota and Atlante. We all know about Atlante and El Piojo. Ranked 34 coming in. Minnesota ranked at 13. And out of the blocks, there was some work to do for the Loons because they did not score first. Once again, it was this time Neil Sika and Kendra D. St. Aubin. So Kendra got a home game, Apple TV Leagues Cup.
If I'm Atlante, I would have gone straight back to Kieran Chandler's side on the right-hand side for the attack because he had just made that gut-busting run all the way to the end line, had to sprint back to recover when they went the other way, and they're on the wrong side.
Calzadilla nicely driving along. Quiros in a redirection that came off Padelford, and Atlante nicks the opener. Well, essentially going against the grain is how this first half is played out. And Quiros, the center back, has some kind luck in his favor for Atlante to take the lead.
Well, they swing it to the left-hand side here to find their opportunity. And at first, it looks like it's good shape defensively. And we just got talking about the quality and the smarts of Julian Gressel and his eagerness to have his head on a swivel. But it's Gressel, I believe, who kind of takes a touch, thinking they're going to keep possession out of the back first. It's on that left-hand side because Kyle Duncan was higher at the pitch. You see the tracking back.
So goal early by Quiros in the 32nd. Atlante with the lead. They had 1-0 going in at halftime. Goal in the 59th by Gonzalez. Brace by Pereira in 12 minutes, 75th in the 87th. So Minnesota comes from behind 1-0 to win it 3-1. Cam Knowles, after the match, was asked what it's like to get off the schneid, courtesy of Minnesota United, their own selves.
Cameron, what's the emotion after ending a 9-game winless streak?
You know, I said to the guys in there, you know, it obviously feels good. It feels good to get a win. It feels good to, you know, come from behind. It feels good to score multiple goals and score them in the way that we did. But it also feels like a reward for some of the performances we've put in. You know, and I know I've sat here and I've said that a lot, but the guys rewarded themselves tonight. They created the chances. They stayed in the game. You know, and they got the result. And I think when we talked before the game about, you know, building on the performance of the last game and building towards the league starting up. And I think, you know, the guys did that, and we've put ourselves in a good place in the way that we feel, but also in the way that we've played.
Snapped the 9-game winless schneid, so the Loons get the Duke, and they get to win 3-1, Team 13 over Team 34. Pachuca and Charlotte, this one was at the bank, and the way things have been going at the bank in Leagues Cup, if you've got a game at the bank, you've got a weather delay. And they had one. And it was Team 12 hosting Team 20. There was a moment in the match itself where Solomon Rondon hit a ball so hard that it actually lodged in a column behind the net. It wasn't like it wasn't like the Isaac McAdoo thing off of a free kick where he sends it through the netting. It wasn't one of those where you had that kind of a question. It was literally, it was wide. So there was no dispute as to whether or not it was a goal or not. But it was wide, and it lodged in a column behind the net. But fortunately for Pachuca, they didn't need the Solomon Rondon moment to be their only offense on the night. We go to 90+1 And it was a long night that got longer for Charlotte. Once again, Tony husband Ross Smith, Apple TV Leagues Cup. Unless, of course, it's MLS en Espanol. So sorry about that. So let's do it again. MLS en Espanol and Apple TV and Leagues Cup.
Justo cuando lo decíamos que vendía muy cara la derrota, aparece Bautista para definir, vencerlo a Miller y decir en el final del partido lo gana Pachuca 1-0. Una equivocación.
Sergio Ruiz Torres and Walter Roque on the call on MLS on the Spanish language feed. So it ends up with the visitors getting the win. Pachuca team 20 in the upset over Charlotte at team 12. So big win for Pachuca. Goal at 90+1 gets them full points as we go. Then we go to Tigres and RSL. And, dude, what are you doing? It's the wrong day. It's like they give you the wrong day to look at things. It's just like, I just want my intel from today. That's all I want. So Pachuca team 20 over a team 12 Charlotte by the score of 1-0. RSL and Juarez. Juarez team 23, RSL team 30. And this one was at America First. If you follow Jarrett Smith, as you should on the Twitters at Jarrett_Smith, you will have known what happened the entire time. But one moment in particular we'll let you find out about. And once again, courtesy of our friends Spanish language side, if I could say it with my upper plate working. So RSL and Juarez, Sergi Solans with a goal here, and it kind of put everything out of reach. Once again, Apple TV Leagues Cup, RSL on a roll.
Solans pivoteó muy bien, el arquero sale tarde, golazo, gol, gol, Real Salt Lake, Sergi Solans, la hizo él, la construyó él, Jurado salió tarde, Solans a tiempo y ahora al 53, Sergi Solans dice que lo gana Real Salt Lake 2-0.
Esa primera duda en la salida le cuesta muy caro a Jurado. Importante cómo Luna luchó la pelota hasta el final porque estaba por perderla y se combinan los dos recién ingresados. Buena pelota entre líneas de Cadescan. El gesto técnico girando en la recepción de Solans, que luego ante la duda de Jurado, luego tiene la posibilidad de picarla así, de manera magistral, pero le damos crédito al español por cómo gira, prácticamente un control orientado que no era fácil.
Carlos Ramirez and Maximiliano Codado, they were calling it for a Spanish language broadcast on Apple TV. 3-0 the final. Gilavogi from the spot in the 29th, Solans in the 53rd, and then it was Rodriguez in the 68th. So 2 goals, 15 minutes, second half. Juarez is 3-0 losers at America First. And then that gets us to the last match of the night. And this is where we'll start our conversation with Dylan Butler when he joins us in about 10 minutes. Actually, I take it back. We have to hear from Pablo Mastroeni. So, yes, we do have Pablo Mastroeni to discuss the said matchup. So here is Pablo after the match, courtesy of RSL, their own selves.
The guys defended well, yeah, so I think that's really the takeaway is and again, the positive of that is that the guys feel confident to find those passes. And if they do work, we're going to the house. But after the third one, there should be a warning sign going off or alarm going saying, let's get control of this game again. And let's play this game on our terms versus continuing to jam balls down the middle and losing it. But like I said, the second half was much different, and goals change games. The Serge goal, world-class finish, great ball from Noel. And then, Lineker's goal is great wing progression. Dre getting the ball from Noel, and then Lenny getting to the spot and finishing. So there's a lot of positives to take away from this game. And then the biggest positive for me is the way we defended with the lead and defended the box really well, defended corners and set pieces really well, and that's been something that's been our Achilles heel. So the mentality of this group defensively, there's been a click, a change, and I think from these last two games, that is the biggest takeaway for me.
Pablo Mastroeni after the 3-0 win. And like I said, we'll go over the standings in a little bit because we have today 3, 6, 7 matches to get into, and we'll get into those juice boxes at the end of the show. Last match on the board, number 2 Tigres hosting number 9 Vancouver at the Estadio Universitario. This one was Leagues Cup After Dark, and we got a couple different versions. So Aguirre scores in the 19th minute for Tigres. And from all indications, Tigres was just kind of a little slow. They were a little slow in this one, and Vancouver couldn't quite get the engine turned over either, at least in the first 45. Second 45, Jesper Sorensen makes some adjustments. Then in the 79th minute, you have the equalizer from Emmanuel Sabi, Max and Dunny, Apple TV, Leagues Cup.
For a big name. See if they get a big name or if Elizondo continues in that role. Garrison Metkov all the way through. Sabi! Oh, golazo! Threading it through the eye of the needle to beat El Paton Guzman. Vancouver have been biting at the equalizer. They get it in the 80th minute.
We can see the body language from multiple Tigres players. They feel as though the ball came off the arm of one of the Vancouver attackers. But the 28-year-old Emmanuel Sabi, already 2 goals, 2 assists in Major League Soccer this season. He's waiting, he's hunting, and as that ball skips through, doesn't take.
Now, that gets you to the equalizer in the 79th minute. All I'm going to say is this. Then all hell broke loose. And Ivan Barton, and like I said, and I don't know, it just seems the way that it goes sometimes. Ivan Barton is the man in the middle more often than not. If you're thinking chaos in hemisphere, you put them in the same sentence, Ivan Barton's probably not far away. Ivan Barton was the man in the middle for this one. And the 2 moments that I'm going to play here, for the English language version, once again, it's Max and Dunny, and they pieced them together in the edit. For Spanish language, it's our friend Jose Perez Navarro. Jorge Perez Navarro. So JPN is on the call on the Spanish side with our friend Marcelo Balboa. And it is Max and Dunny on the English language. So we get to the 88th minute, and there was some activity just outside the Vancouver 18. Player goes down. Diego Lainez is hot about lack of a card. And this is where it starts. It's 1 moment of 2. And like I said, on the English language, it's edited together because they basically were the back-to-back moments that were attached. So you're going to hear the first moment in the 88th minute, Diego Lainez. And then as Tigres is trying to chase a possible game winner, I think there was 5 minutes added. You get another moment at 90+1. So here's the English language version of what happened in this match. Once again, it's Max and Dunny on the call, and it went off the rails.
They were having significant conversations. Wow, and whatever Diego Lainez said.
Wow,
he
red
said
card.
The magic word, straight red.
His Leagues Cup is over. Not happy with Ivan Barton, and now he's put Tigres into a important, or a very difficult moment. One of their best players, he would have been a critical penalty taker. This is what happened. Finger pointing, and Ivan Barton saying, "Not to me." I officiated a World Cup semifinal. Plenty of time here for a winner. Or we're headed for back-to-back-to-back penalty shootouts for Tigres. Some action, and Guzman flying off his line to midfield to take a free kick. And he pushes. Oh, boy, red card!
What is he doing?
He will not participate in any shootout if we get there. Putting hands on Ivan Barton. Tigres have lost the plot. They are down to 9.
Well, just watch Nahuel Guzman. The referee steps in front, and that's that push.
Wow.
And I don't know what he's thinking. But there's only one end result. Take away the status of this referee being a...
All right, so you had 2 red cards called on Tigres. Bart is on vacation, and he's here this morning. He is in his other capacity. And Diego Lainez, in his moments of tranquilo, you had that happen, and then you had Guzman basically just shove the Ivan Barton to the side, because what Nahuel Guzman wanted to do, the foul was called, or offside was called at the center spot. So Guzman is running forward to the center spot to place the ball down to get play up and running again. Ball's placed down. Ivan Barton is standing there, basically right next to the ball. And Nahuel Guzman basically shoves Ivan Barton to the side. It's like, bruh, I got work to do. And unfortunately for Nahuel Guzman, it was a gentleman with a whistle and cards and wearing a red jersey, which was neither team's colors. So and actually it doesn't matter, because if they advance, it's for the next match. If they don't, it's for the first match in the next Leagues Cup, where you get those 2 red cards with Lainez and Nahuel Guzman. And like I said, we'll catch up with Dylan Butler in a couple of minutes to discuss. Here is the Lainez moment, once again, with JPN and Marcelo Balboa, Leagues Cup and Apple TV. And the funny thing is, JPN and Marcelo Balboa, they were the calmer of the 2 play-by-play booths.
Ahora, Corriarán sabe muy bien en qué parte del terreno de juego está.
Sí, sí.
Él no va a renunciar al esfuerzo.
No.
¡Oh! Se va Lainez, roja directa. Algo le habrá dicho. Y cuando más lo necesitaba Tigres, se está quedando con uno menos después de la expulsión de Diego Lainez.
Dijo algo, ahí está. Está bien, referee.
Y yo no sé si escaló en los reclamos. Lainez le iba, porque primero iba por la amarilla el árbitro, sí. Fue a la bolsa de la camisa y dijo no, fue a la bolsa del pantalón, chao, se quedó con uno menos del equipo de Tigres. ¿Qué le dices a los compañeros cuando llegan de regreso al vestidor?
That's the funny part. Literally, you hear JPN and you hear Marcelo Balboa, then after that initial uptick, they're calmed down. But yes, the master of calm. Okay, so Bart is apparently back from vacation, but the master of calm in international situations, Diego Lainez, he basically did the Dikembe Mutombo bit. He's like waving him off, and he's like waving him off, and he wags the finger. 2 things where you sit there and you go, nah, fam, you're good. Shower, bang. So Diego Lainez goes in the 88th, and then you have Nahuel Guzman running up to center spot, and he shoves Ivan Barton. Literally, shoves Ivan Barton. Last time I checked, you can't do that without any kind of repercussion. And Nahuel Guzman took his time, and he decided then to destroy chairs at the Estadio Universitario on the way up the ramp. He leaves the field, and then as he's on his way out, there was an end zone camera that caught Guzman as he was heading down the tunnel, and the tunnel was not covered. So Guzman's heading down the tunnel, And he's like kicking chairs and destroying furniture and all this. But Nahuel Guzman has no one to blame but himself. Here's Jesper Sorensen after the match, by the way. I'm kind of saving the shootout for here in a second. But Jesper Sorensen after the match, where it was a 7th frame shootout loss by Vancouver at Tigres.
We gave up some opportunities we shouldn't have, especially when we were making a couple of mistakes on the way up the pitch. But apart from that, okay. I think we played overall well, a good first half. Gained some control. There was not that many chances in the first half. In the second half, it opened up a little bit more. There was not really a rhythm in the second half. It was a lot of stop and go, a lot of players lying on the pitch, trying to see if they could take some time off the clock, and it broke the rhythm a little bit. I think it's extremely difficult playing when, you know, there's really no incentives to get going in the game. After 1-1, I think we did fairly well. We had some opportunities where we could have played ourselves into some big moments, but we were not able to take it. And yeah, the penalty is the penalty, of course.
7 frames. So here's how it stands after day 1, match day 3. We'll do the easy part first. Liga MX. They still have 7 teams eligible for 4 spots. And 5 of them still have match day 3 coming up. Club America, Cruz Azul, León, 6 points. And they are all with the 2 wins. Hodges is in the barn, 6 points, 2 wins, and a loss. Tigres is in the barn, 6 points. And they end up with the shootout win each time. So they go 2-2-2. So they're in the barn at 6 points. Toluca has a match to play. They are at 1-1, as is Monterrey. So Toluca and Monterrey have to keep an eye on each other. 3 points, 2 matches. And so then you'll get into math and tiebreakers and such. But you got right now 7 teams chasing 4 spots on the Liga MX side. On the MLS side, you have technically only 2 teams eliminated. Vancouver is eliminated with 1 point in 3 matches in 18th. And Minnesota is eliminated because they played their 3rd match and they have 4 points. And they're in 9th. So you have 2 teams out of 18 eliminated from Major League Soccer. Columbus is in the barn with 8 points. RSL's in the barn with 7. Austin has a match to go with 6, as does Chicago. Charlotte is in the barn with 6 points, 2 wins, and a loss. Same for Cincinnati. Dallas has a 3rd match to go, and they're at 6 points. They've won their first 2. LAFC has a match to go. They're at 5. Minnesota eliminated 3 matches, 4 points. Nashville, 3 points, a win and a loss. Portland, Miami, Philly, NYC, Seattle, Orlando, and San Diego FC are all at 1 win and 1 loss. They are all at 3 points with matches to play. So that's what you're staring at when it comes to 16 of the 18 teams still eligible on the MLS side, and you're chasing after 4 spots, which is what you want for this tournament anyway. So your tiebreakers. Goal difference is number 1. Greater number of wins in match regular time. So then it's regulation wins. Greater number of goals scored. So it goes goal difference, number of wins in 90 minutes, goals scored, fewer number of goals allowed, fewer points in the team's fair play table, and a drawing of lots is your 6th tiebreaker. So goal difference right now, if we just look at the teams that are at, say, 6 points. Austin's at +5. Chicago and Charlotte are at +4. Cincinnati's at +3. And remember, Charlotte and Cincinnati are in the barn. Dallas is at +3 with a match to play. That gets you to 8th by themselves right now after 2 matches is LAFC. So it looks like 4 points is probably going to be a cutoff. Right now it is anyway. So all the teams that are 1-1, and there are 8 of them. There are 8 of them. Nashville's at +2. Portland's at +1, 6 goals scored. Miami's at +1, 5 goals scored. Philadelphia's at +1, 3 goals scored. Same for NYC. Seattle is at 0 in goal difference. Orlando is 0 in goal difference. San Diego FC is at -1 in goal difference. So that's what you're staring at here in all of this. All of this. You have to remember your tiebreakers. 7 teams, 4 spots on the Liga MX side. That's easy. That's easy. Goal difference, number of wins in 90, number of goals scored, number of goals conceded, fewer number of goals conceded, fair play table drawing of lots. That's your 6. So either side, that's same tiebreaker. But right now, 7 teams, 4 spots, Liga MX, and 2 of those 7 have completed play. 16 of the 18 teams are still available in Leagues Cup on the MLS side, which is crazy to think about. But when you've got 98 teams tied at 1-1, 3 points after 2 matches, 3, 6, 8 teams at 1-1, heading into match day 3s, that's what you're getting into. But once again, next match, whenever that is, Tigres will not have Nahuel Guzman, and they will not have Diego Lainez. But the other point is, once again, when you have a red card for your keeper, then you got to bring in a keeper. And it goes to, it was crazy when you have to go to your backup keeper, and you go to your backup keeper, Felipe Rodriguez is the backup keeper. He had to come in cold, basically, once Nahuel Guzman got the red at 90+1. And he saved the last 3 penalties, or had a part in it, because Ilumi's 7th frame PK was skied over the bar. Vancouver misses their last 3 PKs. They had a chance to close it in the 5th. Laborda couldn't do it. Garza misses in the 6th. Priso is saved in the 6th. Enrique scores in the 7th. Ilumi skies the bar in the bottom of the 7th. And that was how Tigres went through. But 39-year-old Felipe Rodriguez, and that's what, like I said, we always talk about tournament play, and you end up with unlikely heroes. This go round, and he's listed at 37. So listed at 37. Well, let me see if this is 2 years old. It's 2 years old, so it's 39. So Carlos Felipe Rodriguez, he's in the 2nd year of a 2-year contract renewal that he signed at the age of 37. Started for Tigres when Guzman was injured at the end of the 24 season in the Clausura. And so they re-signed him, and this is the 2nd year of that 2-year deal for Felipe Rodriguez. Comes in cold, saves 2 of the last 3. He's in there for the shootout, gets the win. And just to give you an idea about his history, when it comes to the number of matches played, literally this is the first match that he has played for Tigres since the Apertura in 24-25. First professional match, first professional minutes. He has been the understudy since the 24-25 Apertura. Played in the U23 Apertura for the 2nd team. Played in the Supercopa in 24, but he has not played regular minutes since the Apertura in 24-25. One match in the Supercopa 24. Played in the Clausura for Tigres for 2 matches, and this was when Guzman was injured. Then he played in the Liga MX Clausura. CONCACAF Champions Cup, he had 3 matches. Liguilla Apertura once again, and Liga MX Apertura in 23-24. Everything dates back. And then his breakdown. Monarcas, Atlético San Luis, Morelia's U20s, Tigres, León, Mérida, FC Juárez U20s, Juárez, Club León, Atlas UTNs, Monarcas, Morelia A, and the U23s for Tigres. Abby, good to see you. But a 39-year-old keeper, who hadn't played regular minutes since the Liga MX Apertura in 24-25 when he finished up with 3 matches, gave up 1 goal and had 2 clean sheets back then, 24-25. Literally, that was the last competitive action that he had. He comes in off the bench, saves 2 of the 3 PKs, comes in a pinch, and he's going to start the next match whenever that is, or somebody's going to start the next match when Nahuel Guzman is suspended, whenever that is. So that's what you end up with in Leagues Cup. 39-year-old backup keeper who was gathering dust and cobwebs ends up saving your bacon 5-4 in penalties in 7 frames, which is insane to think about. So that was your last night. What about today, he asks. We mentioned there's an ish load of matchups. Just to give them to you, FS1 and Unimas do have matchups at 8 o'clock and 10:15, so it's probably 8:20 and 10:25. But here we go. 7:40 kicks at Inter.co. Team 19 Orlando taking on Team 33 Atletico San Luis. For ASL, it's a dead rubber. Tonight at New Stadium, 7:40, it is Messi and friends at Team 7, León Team 28. Obviously, no Lionel Messi, and he has asked for time away. It has been granted, and if you saw his Instagram post this morning, it is absolutely heartbreaking stuff. 7:40 tonight. Once again, Messi and friends in León at New Stadium. 8:20, we'll say, at Geodis. Team 11, Monterrey and Nashville SC at Team 16. This one is at Geodis. Nashville is, however, the visitors. Apple TV, FS1, and Unimas. Top-ranked Toluca at Estadio Nemesio Diaz takes on FC Dallas, Team 25. This is a 10:10 start on Apple TV. 10:25, Apple TV and FS1, the late game from the Murph Dragon. San Diego SC, ranked number 8, takes on Puebla at Team 36. Then at BMO at 10:40, Team 10 LAFC takes on Querétaro at Team 31. Also at 10:40 at Lumen, it is Seattle Sounders, Team 15, taking on Chivas, and they are at Team 21. So basically, if you're not Minnesota, then all you've got to do is win and try and figure it out. Once again, 7 teams north of the bar for Liga MX, and the other 9 teams have in match days 2 and 3 just dead rubbers, and you'll see what kind of rotation there is and how it would impact what's going on in the standings tonight and tomorrow. So your juice boxes, just so you have them. So Bart is saying public service needs Messi and friends not to win, so they're essentially guaranteed not to advance, and the date at New Stadium won't be moved because Bart is going to South Florida for that trip. And I know that he is not by himself in that. So juice boxes for Leagues Cup. So just to give you a breakdown of what happened last night. Atlas wins at a plus 508. Minnesota United won at a plus 127. RSL won at a minus 135. The 90-minute draw is a plus 345 for Tigres and Vancouver. So tonight, Orlando City is a minus 179 against Atletico San Luis, who's a plus 362. Your 90-minute draw is a plus 333. Messi and Friends a -106, hosting León at a +218, draws a +285. Monterrey is a +196 at Geodis against Nashville SC, who's a +114. Your draws a +252. Toluca, big favorite at home, no surprise, a -278. Remember, they're the top-ranked team in Leagues Cup. +397 for your draw. FC Dallas to win is a +575. San Diego FC is a -169, draws a +326. Puebla is a +338. Sounders are a dog at home to Chivas at a +213. Chivas a +102, and the draw is a +267. LAFC is a -357, hosting Querétaro, who is a +708, and the draw is a +467. So home teams mostly favored. Nashville is playing at home. They're the dog, but they are on the plus side, and they are favored. And Chivas on the road is favored at Lumen, taking on Seattle. We can actually call it Lumen by its sponsor names now. So that's your rundown of the 7 matchups tonight in Leagues Cup that might serve us better. It might serve us into chaos. Who the hell knows? So we'll find out what it looks like with those matchups that are in and across everything. Let's see. So Bart officially is back from vacation. So we welcome Bart back from vacation because he was at the beach, and that was why he was not available to be with us on Monday. Manchester United leads today at 2:30 in Ireland. That should be a fun one. We'll go over the schedule, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, brought to us by our friends at Fanati's, coming up after Kaylor Hodges, who is coming up here in just a second. Like I said, we caught up on everything USL, Oakland, Birmingham, the rest of the championship, how the Western Conference is chaos. USL League One has its own couple of groups. It's like Union Omaha and our friend Jamie Henderson and everybody else fighting it out. We do have some interesting stuff in and around the playoff bar, and the USL and the Gainbridge Super League is kicking back in this week as they reorient their schedule in the USL Super League to sit there and flip their existence in the calendar, so they'll be in line with other things. So that's how their sprint season is going to go, and it kicks off this weekend. We're going to catch up with Kaylor about that in a bit. Just wanted to give you a piece of news, and it's reported from Herman Garcia Grova, and it is a piece of information involving Atlanta United. And according to Herman Garcia Grova, Atlanta United has very advanced negotiations for Williams Alarsson, working with Boca on a loan move and a purchase option. So that came out this morning, and it came out just before the show started. So let's learn together and find out about Williams Alarsson. And it's another midfielder to address depth issues and thoughts. Good question. Fantasy Premier League. Yes, Dell, if anyone is interested in doing Fantasy Premier League, yes, Dell, create it, please. And you'll see just how poor it is where I am and when it comes to everything there. Okay, so Williams Alarsson is a center mid, 25, dual national from Chile and Argentina. AIM Football are his agents, market value listed at 3 million euro. So the 25-year-old center mid started at Huracan, but has been on the bench at Boca Juniors. And it would be nice. It would be very nice if Transfermarkt would behave and actually give me the information that I'm looking for. I'm back online. Yeah, no kidding. Stabilizing some services. No kidding. Okay. All right. So I can't get it there, but hang on. So Transfermarkt, apparently, I think if I remember correctly, they were hacked. And so they are not completely and totally online yet. So let's see. Okay. So let's go to FOTMob and see what FOTMob has to say. 6 foot, 25 years old, transfer value $2.6 million. His primary position is in the midfield at right mid, has played center mid and D mid in the past. contract ends at the end of the calendar year in 28. His highest value was at $11 million when Boca picked him up from Huracan at the tail end of the calendar year 24. And because of a lack of playing time, his value is now down to $2.9 or $2.6 million. And senior career is 34 matches with Boca since January of 25. And when it comes to other midfielders, when it comes to chances created and touches, he is top 15% compared to other midfielders that are in his position. Shot attempts, upper 40%, and about 50-50 on duels. He is a right-footed preferred. And at Huracan, when he started, a year and a half or a little over a year, 54 matches and 5 goals. His career goes Boca Juniors, Huracan, was back from a loan at Union La Calera, had a loan at Ibiza, and was like Union La Calera and Colo-Colo. Youth career was at Colo-Colo in the U20s. And the last match that he played was back on July 26th when he came on at the half in the 3-0 loss to Deportivo Riestra. So he's not getting a lot of minutes. Professional of the season heat map has him inside left channel when it comes to his time. Let's see. So looking at his passing numbers, successful passing amongst his peers, he is in the top 1%. And he is also successful in crosses. He is in the top 14% when it comes to his crosses. And also defensively, he is top 14 in defense when it comes to being on the dribble and top 30% when it comes to XG when he is on the pitch. So that is that's the breakdown of Williams Alarzón. Once again, 25-year-old right midfielder, Boca Juniors. Herman Garcia Grova saying that loan move with a purchase option. Once again, $2.6 million at FOTMOB is his current value. Was his highest when he was playing regularly at Huracan at 11. Hasn't gotten regular minutes in the last handful of years at Boca Juniors. And so he has only been active in 2 of the last 10. So let's see. 1 assist, 371 minutes. Scores highly on assists compared to right midfielders in the Argentine league. And there's a trait graph, and we went into that a little bit. And Chile U23s. So that's kind of where we are. So I would suggest going to FOTMOB and diving into that. But most of his activity is in the left inside channel, but he's not getting regular minutes at Boca. And so Herman Garcia Grova is reporting loan option or loan with a purchase option for Williams Alarzón. And once again, it was at $2.6 million is his current value, and Boca spent 11 when they brought him in from Huracan. So keep an eye on that one as a transaction going forward, possibly when it comes to Atlanta United. Okay, it is time to catch up with our friend Kaylor Hodges and find out anything and everything that is going on involving the USL, which means it's USL Championship, which means it's USL League One, which means it's the Gainbridge Super League, and it's all in one place, and it's with our friend Kaylor Hodges at the USL show. So here's our conversation that we had, and there's a moment in it where, yes, you'll realize it was taped before, but you'll also realize that Kaylor is, in fact, a high school band teacher. Here's how I caught up with him. Time for the Once a Monther with Kaylor Hodges at the USL show. And there are a couple of things that are on the USL docket that I wanted to start things off with you. First one is the mess in Oakland, and I'll phrase it that way because of the back and forth with elected politicians and the Joint Project Authority wanting 6 figures and a lot of money, which is more than 7 figures. What's the update there with Roots? Are they going to make the rest of their home schedule? Is it pay to play? Because that was part of the table too, and the idea 200,000 walk in the door. What's the deal?
So with Oakland, they had already announced prior to this that they would not be coming back to the Coliseum next year because they were going to have their own stadium off campus, still in Oakland. That's a part of their own thing. It was going to be a pop-up as be prepared for the Terminal Stadium that's going to be coming out in, I believe it's going to be at 15,000 in a couple of years. I think it's the plan.
Okay.
So with this situation, it kind of came out suddenly, hey, the Roots owe millions to the Coliseum, and everybody's like, whoa, what does that mean? And the long and short of it is that the Roots got a bad deal. They cut a bad deal. They were trying to save the Coliseum because they are rooted in Oakland. And do you know who else was rooted in Oakland? It was the Athletics. So there was a lot of symbolism there, and it was a great idea getting in there. I mean, their first game, they got 26,000 people in attendance. And if that worked, it would have been great, and nothing would have been a problem because only revenue they were getting from the situation was ticket sales. Yeah. They weren't getting concessions. They were not getting anything else in the stadium. They were not getting parking. So all the little things that actually make up most of your favorite team's gate receipts, they weren't getting any. So if they were getting 26,000 people in the stadium, that works. Well, then it started to dwindle a little bit, and that's where they started getting an issue. So if I can find the number really fast, they were either told they could pay the full $1.38 million or a flat fee of $38,000, the $20,000 for food and beverage deposit, $15,000 in facility fees, and $200,000 for each of the remaining games. So they can pay just under $200,000 up front and then $200,000 for each remaining game. Yeah. I don't know how this is going to work out. When I talked to the San Francisco Chronicle about this, I kind of told them that this size stadium is an albatross for the league. Yeah. But what they're trying to go to, which is an 8,000 seater stadium, is not. That's pretty on par. Their attendance is on par. So really all this is just a rough deal. I would be stunned if they miss any home matches. I would. Now, if they do miss home matches, I think they'll move to a new venue.
Yeah.
I think it'll just go to a new venue. The league has been open for other venue changes and making stuff happen temporarily. I mean, look at my Birmingham Legion. They're going to be playing at Donovan Valley, which is less than the professional league standards. They are going to be sitting around 3,000 to 4,000, and the minimum is 5. So the league is willing to make exceptions, even if it breaks the league standards in a situation like this. So I think they can make it work, even if they get booted from the Coliseum. Is that a PR situation they want to deal with? Absolutely not. But they're already dealing with it. So what's worse than finding a new intimate home?
From what I understand, the lease agreement that they signed, and you mentioned most of it, it's basically where they just get tickets. They don't right. Get any of the other opportunities to sell ad boards or hoardings or anything, any kind of representation, any kind of sales or anything like that within the stadium itself. And then you mentioned the other revenue. The city gets all of that revenue. The Oakland Alameda County group, JPA, gets that, and they have to cap it according to what the Roots said publicly. They have to cap it at 7,000 in attendance. Yes. And they had a match with Sacramento that was here as one of the remaining home matches, and they could have anticipated a big crowd from coming down to see the Republic and the Roots, but they had to cap it at 7 because of the added cost of getting to that next level of attendance figures and security and concessions and all that kind of stuff. They were making their payments early last year.
Yep.
Everything seemed to be fine. But this year, they seem to be stuck in the mud for one reason or another. Do we know why momentum hit a brick wall going from last year to this year? Do we know at all?
A little bit of momentum. And I think there's a couple of things that were noted where they lost 5 games, like 5 weeks of revenue because of Major League Cricket, which is a cool experience. But that is 5 weeks of no money.
Yeah.
Even if you're the most tight budget, if you went 5 weeks without being paid, you're probably missing on a payment or two on something, right?
Yeah.
stuff like that has happened constantly with the Roots in the situation where concert here, international match here. Now you get Major League Cricket. So they've just kind of been booted for numerous reasons. And they've said that they are committed to paying the debt, that they're not going to leave any debts on the table, that they're going to make right because they care about that kind of stuff. Granted, they also have to say that. They can't say, nah, we're good. Yeah. But even so, that seems like what it is. It's more of a little bit of a rut that's kind of caused by the situation, which is, hey, we are getting booted out of here. And if we get booted out of here, we have no money. So what money do you want us to pay? I think they even mentioned during the meeting, the open meeting, of if we don't play matches, we can't pay the money. Yeah. So yes, you want $200,000 per game, but the only way you'll get your $200,000 is if we play the game. Right. So it feels like a lot of posturing and chicken and like playing a game of chicken where they'll eventually come to some agreement, but it's just a messy situation all around.
Yep. And you mentioned Legion. I have not heard about this. What is this with Legion and Donovan Valley?
They're moving. So they were already planning to play their match versus Rhode Island at Donovan Valley because they had a match that was going to be moved because Usher and Chris Brown were playing in the stadium. Well, that match got rained out because Legion have, I don't know, made God mad, and they are not allowed to play matches anymore. And so they have now rescheduled 2 matches upcoming. Charleston and one other one I can't remember off the top of my head right now are going to be playing 2 matches at Donovan Valley, which are going to be capped. The number the club said was anywhere from 3,000 to 3,500. So it's going to be smaller than the professional standards allow, but they have a waiver that is signed off on it. It's fine. I went out there before the match got canceled versus Rhode Island. The venue looked amazing. I think fans are really going to enjoy it. And some people were a little upset because one's a midweek match and the other one is the Auburn's home opener. But I also would counter with the fact that isn't that the perfect time to go to a smaller stadium? Would you really want to be a protective stadium with Auburn's home opener? I wouldn't. So why not go to the smaller venue and be a little bit more intimate? Is it a possible soft launching of this being the site going forward? I wouldn't count against it, but that's coming from no sources within the club. That's just personal conjecture.
Yep. Shelby County Reporter article from Andrew Simonson has the September 12 match and the September 16 match there. September 12 is against the Battery at 6, and that's still going to be Hispanic Heritage Night. Match was previously scheduled for Sunday, September 13th at Protective. Move was made due to UAB's home opener against Louisiana Monroe, which is set for the 12th at 2:30. Keeping the game at Protective would give the grounds crew 24 hours to flip the field for soccer. The match on the 16th is the rescheduled date for the New Mexico United match, and that one is at 7:30. They tried to play July 24 and 25, but you mentioned how Mother Nature hates you, and that's why you're out at Donovan Valley. For those that do not know, it is listed as, soccer in Shelby County. Where is Donovan Valley Fields, and where does it play within the Birmingham purview of, okay, you can go here and watch matches? Where is it within the city, and what does it do when it's not the de facto home for these 2 dates for Legion?
I'm just going to tell you, there's a drum line playing in the background. This is happening live.
That's great. They knew that you were doing this, and so that's why they did the.
It's even on the door. Can you hear me?
Barely.
All right. You want to just kind of cut this and wait?
No.
Keep going. We do it live.
Yeah.
Podcast listeners only. Hi. So what we where this is off of 280, and it's in Chelsea, and so it's going to be outside of Jefferson County. So it's going to be what feels like the middle of nowhere, but it's actually Legion's training facility, and where they have played Legion 2 and W League matches this year.
Okay.
So this is already the home of Legion. This is the training facility. So kind of expected. They kind of know what to do here. They've also held friendlies here, so it's not like this is completely unheard of for them.
Okay, for those that don't know your background, please explain your current location, where you're sitting, and you have the drum line happening behind you. They don't quite know your day job, everybody. So what is the day job?
My day job is being a band director. I'm in the band room, and I'm in my office, and they're done now. They're done now. Welcome back, guys.
That's hilarious. But
Yeah.
so folks know, you're a band director at a high school in West Alabama.
Yes.
And this is the day job that pays all the bills, that makes sure that you can do things like this with us. So
yes.
Because I wanted to ask about Donovan Valley, because a lot of folks might know Protective, and they're like, oh, they're just going over here to play. And I wanted you to kind of break down where here is, and not necessarily sit there and poo-poo it off the top, basically.
Correct. So this is off of 280. So if you don't really know, if you take 280 like you're going to Auburn, this is right outside Chelsea. And this is supposed to be the first ever professional soccer match happening in Shelby County, which is already cool in of itself. But this is Legion's everyday training facility, which a lot of the players are really excited about, because they train on grass and then they go and play on turf.
Yes.
So
Protective has its moments, yes.
Yeah, so this is just kind of what they're doing. But yeah, so this is right down the road, probably about 30 minutes from the stadium. For some people, that would be a little bit annoying, but I think it's fine. I think it's I'm driving from Tuscaloosa, so it's a drive for me. But some people in Birmingham proper not happy about it. But people who live on the outskirts, which are most Legion fans, it's probably better for them.
And I was going to ask, what you wouldn't have to know the percentages of season ticket holders and where folks travel from to get to the games at Protective, do you?
I would say that probably about 50% of season ticket holders come from this over the mountain area, which is where it is.
Okay.
So this would favor probably about 50% of the season ticket holders. And meanwhile, the rest of 50 are either in the metro, on the opposite side of town, or on the outskirts. So a vast majority of the hardcore hub comes from this area.
Okay. Our resident band director, Kaylor Hodges, at the USL show, hanging out with us to do the month that was and the month that is. We haven't even had the chance to talk about Chicharito and Atletico Dallas yet. What's been the feedback there?
I mean, there's a lot of conversation for me, which is this the biggest signing in league history? Where you can look at Joe Cole joining the league, and that's big, but Joe Cole doesn't have the same regional impact as a Chicharito to Texas. You could look at Didier Drogba, who is undoubtedly a better player than Chicharito.
Yeah.
But when you consider the Mexican population within Texas, within the United States, who would make them more excited, Didier Drogba or Chicharito?
Yeah,
I think it's Chicharito. The only other one that I can think of in terms of getting people in seats and people buy jerseys, Cristo Fernandez, Danny Rojas.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
I mean, when you consider the widespread popularity of Ted Lasso, I think it's Chicharito and Danny Rojas.
Wow.
I think those are your two biggest signings, and one of those I think will play more than the other.
Yeah.
I think this would be closer to a Didier Drogba type move, where maybe he'll play 10 matches in a year, be really, really good, and then just enjoy life being basically retired. I think that's what this is. I doubt he'll play many minutes, but even so, they're going to the Cotton Bowl. Them and the Trinity are now combined as one organization. They're bringing in Chicharito. All the momentum is going right for them right now, and this is definitely the right way to start it off.
Yeah, I do want to talk Super League, and we'll talk about that in a bit. Eastern Conference and the championship, Rowdies 8 points clear. And then after that, you've got Charleston, who Phoenix came in and picked up some firepower on a signing, and they get to add that to their mix out in the Western Conference. But you go a couple down, you maybe, if you want to use, say, Lou City at 4 at 28 points. You've got 6 teams, 7 points. Hartford Athletic right now 9th below the bar. So the 4 to 8 battle or the 4 through 9 battle seems to be where it is right now.
Yeah, for sure. And for me, I think you see a clear gap between 1 and 2 and the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you don't look at points, Detroit City is fantastic. But if I'm talking power rankings, it's Tampa Bay, Charleston.
Mm-hmm.
That's my quote unquote power rankings. Detroit City, I wouldn't want to go to Keyworth.
No.
Don't get me wrong. And they actually are scoring goals. They are actually scoring. They're defending well because that's what they do. Those are kind of my 3, but I still think it's the Battery. Even though Detroit City can go above the Battery with the game in hand, if I'm asking who do I trust more right now in a do or die game, it's still Charleston. After that, you're looking at Lou City, who they are quite literally as patchy as it gets. Win, loss, draw.
Yep.
Could not get any more patchy than that. You get Pittsburgh, who looks good. They look really good. And then they lose to Jacksonville. So who are they? So there's that. Rhode Island, they have games in hand that can send them really high up, but I don't see consistency. But maybe this win versus Colorado Springs is what can do it, because Colorado Springs and what they're doing this year is really good, especially lately.
Yep.
Miami, I mean, when you have Lukosha and Eloy Room in there, it's going to be enough to win you a match. And maybe that's enough in a pretty bad Eastern Conference. All you have to do is win a few more matches down the way. Indy, they're unique. They have a lot of games in hand. They can fly up the standings, but they have shown no signs of doing so because they are lossless and forever. Wow. Hartford, they have Siaha, which I think alone does a lot. I think they can ride him just like Miami with Eloy Room. Mm-hmm. Loudon, they're showing signs of life. Birmingham, here's what I'll say about Birmingham. They haven't played Brooklyn Sporting Jacks yet at all.
Okay.
So they have a combined 4 matches against the 2 worst teams in the league, and they have games in hand. If that gives you hope that they can make up 12 points and get back into this thing, maybe. Do I have that hope? Not fully, but that is what it is. And then Brooklyn and Jacksonville, they played this year.
Yes, they have, and they are. The Western Conference continues to be off the rails ridiculous. I mean, you can cut the top 8 in half if you want. You can go 1 through 4, or you can go 4 through 9. You could go 3 through 9, and you've got 7 teams separated by 5 points if you go 3 through 9. It's chaos personified in the West, which is great for folks like us to talk about. But for them, it's chaos personified.
Well, you mentioned Phoenix. I want to start at the bottom here because they do end up picking up Juan David Torres from Charleston on loan, where he was in Peru playing in the top tier, had an almost $500,000 transfer fee, an optional transfer fee tied to him. Wow. Did not materialize. They sent him back out on loan. I doubt Phoenix has that same $500,000 option to buy, but even so, is that going to be what gets the goal scoring happen? Because they're creating chances. That's one thing they're really good at. They're really good at creating chances. They're just not putting them away. Is Juan David Torres that guy? I kind of want him setting up the pass personally. He can score, but I think I'd rather see him setting it up for me personally. Mm-hmm. After that, you're looking at up at the top, it's still Orange County for me. I think Orange County is the class, but Lexington is quickly storming up. They are quickly making the rounds. They are quickly moving up. Tulsa, I don't have much faith in. I got to be honest. I just don't. I know they've won, but I just don't. I don't know. Mm-hmm. New Mexico, once again, I don't know, but they are on the hottest streak ever, and they have 3 matches in hand. So why not start believing in them? They are really, really good. San Antonio, I'm still just not sold on after their hot patch at the beginning. Okay. After that, 6 to the bottom, Colorado Springs, that they've started losing lately, but they were really good for a while. And other than that, it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's and the thing you look at Sacramento as an example. We're used to seeing them 1, 2, 3 in the West. Right now, they're 7. but they're a win out of third. And
Mm-hmm.
if they have a good, and they've got a match in hand. So if they win that, then they rocket up the table to third place. And so, I mean, the Western Conference for me, like I said, it's great for us to talk about. And for them, I'm sure that they're going to try and figure out, okay, how do we not bite our nails all for the rest of the season right now at the halfway point? So, I mean, it's really interesting in the Western Conference just to see how the chaos has rolled itself out.
Yep.
League One, before we get into Super League, League One has its own brand of chaos, and it's, once again, you've got the two groups. It's the Union Omaha group, what Jamie Henderson has done there at Union Omaha to assemble that batch of folks. 2 points clear of Charlotte, and Charlotte's 1-3 of 5. One Knox is right into that mix, and then you have 4 points and 5 teams going 3 through 7. You've got Boise, who's still a part of the discussion. AV Alta is north of the playoff bar. Red Wolves had won 3 in a row at one point to get north of the playoff bar. Fort Wayne, after their hot start, they've kind of come back to the pack, losing 4 of 5. And Corpus Christi, with your man Amon Zayed, has kind of hit a bit of a rhythm after figuring out what they are in League One. What have you seen out of League One so far?
Union Omaha's great. Charlotte's great.
Yeah.
Those are my top 2. You can also look at One Knox and put that in that same category. But the best team in the league, probably Forward Madison.
Wow. Okay.
If you haven't watched them, they have really turned it on. Really turned it on. They have changed formations. They've revamped everything. Gebhardt is the only returning member of an 22-man squad. One person came back from last year, and you could tell at the beginning of the year, and now they are red hot. This Forward Madison team is legit. Pay attention to that. Charlotte, they are patchy, but when they are on, they're on. They feel like the cream of the crop outside of Union Omaha, who not flashy, but boy, do they just get results. They just do it and do it and do it. They are just even kill the whole time. After that, Corpus Christi is making a surge.
Mm-hmm.
They are stabilizing. I think that there's talent there. I think it can work. Chattanooga has the defense to really play and make their way through. Plus, they have 17 matches played. They have 5 games in hand over AV Alta. If they get results, they're climbing up this board.
Mm-hmm.
After that, after Corpus Christi, Fort Wayne, I think 11 and under at this point. Portland, Naples, Westchester, Greenville, Sarasota, Richmond, New York. I think it's over.
Okay.
I think they're done.
Okay.
I think you're realistically looking at 10 and up and who's fighting for what position. I think the top 4 are basically locked. I think it's going to be Union Omaha, Charlotte, One Knox, Forward Madison.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's going to be everybody else fighting for the last 4. Who's it going to be? Pick your favorite because no one knows. I think for me, I would go Boise, Spokane, Chattanooga, and Fort Wayne. AV Alta are really good. I think they've gotten right. However, they have played so many matches ahead of everybody else. I think by the time the games in hand happen, that they're going to fall down the pecking order, and they kind of left it a little late.
And Super League kicks off this weekend for the fall grid. And for those that might have missed the championship game, I would say that your required viewing, if you're going to check out the Super League, is to go back and watch the final.
Yes.
And what that meant to the Super League, you look at Carolina and Lexington, I would say safely that they are 1 and 2 heading in. And when you look at this group heading into the fall season, Lexington, Carolina, Sporting Jacks has done well, Dallas Trinity, Tampa Bay, DC, Brooklyn, and Fort Lauderdale. You got to see, once again, we've been talking about groups, and you saw just how crowded it was at the top in the Super League in the season that just passed. Are you anticipating that same kind of chaos where we get to have fun times talking about it and everybody else is banging their heads against the wall about how tight it's going to be?
Maybe, especially with this being a short season because they are changing to the normal American schedule.
Right.
And this is going to be just a mad sprint to the finish, which should just be fun. So I think it's going to create some really interesting teams. This is almost giving like the 60-game MLB season from COVID, where it's going to be like, wow, this is halfway through, and we'll be saying stuff like, well, if this was 2026, they would have been champions, stuff like that. But I think so. You look at Lexington, they're coming back, and they have retooled, and they have brought in Perry from Juventus, who is so good. They brought in Campbell, who is really, really good. She is coming in from Gotham, where she was fantastic, especially out at Stanford.
Yep.
You're looking at Sporting Jacks, who, if you didn't watch, they took it to Wrexham. In Wrexham.
They did.
5-0. Absolutely killed them. Where they've brought in Fontenot, who is going to be slotting at right wing back, a place where they were good last year, but Smekrud was really good, but not quite Fontenot. You end up, and then you have AJ Hennessy, who's going to be kind of falling down the pecking order. That's a really good squad. The Sun, I don't see a lot there for me to really see revitalization to where they are. I think they have good players. I specifically want to look at Jasmine Ferguson, who was so good at center back out of LSU. I thought she was stunning. Scarpelli was really good in Brooklyn last year, playing left back or center back wherever they need her to play. But is that enough to get them out of last? I don't think so.
Okay.
After that, pick your favorite. I mean, Carolina looks amazing. Carolina looks amazing. They bring in Hope Hissey, who is like the only player you could get to replace where you can get McClelland replaced. Toppin is going to be coming in as a backup, but everything else is really good. The Trinity, they completely revamped it, and I think it has the potential to be better, but I don't know. I just need to see how they get started. This is a largely brand new squad. Is that going to work in a short season? If they get hot quick, yes, but I wouldn't bet on it. DC Powers brought in some good players, specifically Tyler Lucy coming in, which should be really fun to see on that right wing. I would probably say that my top right now is Lexington, Carolina, Sporting Jacks. I know that's boring, but after that, I don't really know. But those will be my top three, and everybody else is fighting for the final spot.
All right. And so since the live show was last night for the USL show, folks need to go back and listen to it and or watch. What else is going on with the USL show?
Not too much. We got a bunch of stuff coming with kit season right now. They do a bunch of interviews. They've had a lot of great interviews lately on how kits are made, how they're designed, how they pick certain materials, and then just giving them ratings, talking about the fashion of football. So it's a ton of good stuff. Our friends at the USL show, so John Morrissey's putting out amazing things for USL Tactics. Alex Ashton's putting out fantastic work on League One Updater. Ryan Allen has his own USL kind of betting thing, which is not really if you want to get into betting, but he also kind of talks about why certain lines are the way that they are, and if you were to see them, why they're edging that way, which I think is really interesting and really fascinating along the way. And Phil is finally getting back and up and running again, so which is always good to have him back around. So the people at the USL show are just putting out amazing content.
It's very, very cool. As always, I can't thank you enough for hanging out at Kaylor Hodges on the 280-character app. And we fought through a drum line to get this.
We did.
And that was fantastic. Good to see you, my friend. And you know that if there's anything, if news breaks, we're here to fix it, and just jump in at any time. And especially if you're going to get in trouble with the teachers and everything like that, you might need to have somebody cover your class. It's always great to see you. We'll see you soon.
See you.
Kaylor Hodges from the USL show, covering everything the USL, and there's a lot to get into there. And Dell, feel free to continue to make fun, even if he's not here, because then he can't respond to you until after 3 o'clock local time when school is out. Hydration break brought to us by our friends at local Vine Beer, Wine, and Liquor stores from the Kaiser Permanente studios. John Nelson here with you. And once again, it's time to hydrate. Local Vine Beer, Wine, and Liquor stores, great partners with us here, great friends here in 2026. 2 locations in the Atlanta area, Johns Creek and Cumberland, at the corner of Cobb Parkway and Cumberland Parkway. Go in. The stores are huge. You go in thinking you need one thing, and you'll leave with like 19 others. So hydrate away, everybody. It is from the Kaiser Permanente Studios, your hydration break. I feel like I need hydration break music or something. But now that we are properly hydrated, it's the home stretch. Once again, remember tomorrow, it is a power hour, 8:30 to 9:30. So set your notifications. We're going to catch up with Mercer on the men's side, and it'll be an opportunity to find out how crazy the SoCon is from the men's side. 4 o'clock this afternoon, it is Mercer at Jackson State. And so it's an opportunity to see their season kick in. And there are, speaking of activity in the red clay, it is a chance to lay out everything that is going on. So Georgia State opens their season at UAB tonight, 8 o'clock. It is Aliyah Fadul, who had 17 points, 13 newcomers with Georgia State coming into the 26th season. West Georgia starts their first season in the UAC. They're at Jacksonville State, 6 o'clock. And that is a rematch of the last 2 openers between those 2 programs. 3-2 last year in Carrollton. 3 goals in the final 3 minutes. Noemi Kasik, the senior, scored twice in less than a minute against Jack State a year ago. She is the point of the spear for the Wolves. Georgia Southern hosting North Florida at Bo Pitts. That one is at 7 o'clock. Eagles picked 9th in the Sun Belt preseason poll. That's where they were picked a season ago. Chris Adams says the fix starts with margins. They were 2-7 and 2-9 in 1-goal matches in the last 2 seasons. Looking to close those gaps. Mercer once again at Jackson State. Once again, that is 4 o'clock. Their home slate, 4 o'clock, and it's on HBCU TV. So go to Jackson State's streaming elements. You can go. It's on HBCU TV, so you can go and watch that starting at 4 o'clock. Home slate at Betts starts on the 23rd. Georgia Southern, 19th ranked Georgia, both due into Macon before the month is out. Georgia starts their season tomorrow at Illinois. So keep an eye out on all of that. Roberto Martinez in talks to become the manager of the Netherlands. Vacancy opened up after Ronald Koeman departed with the loss in the round of 32. Memphis Depay accuses Corinthians of breaching their contract agreement. Depay says they reneged on an agreed contract extension, calling the decision, quote, unacceptable, vowing to respond publicly. Corinthians say the decision to not to extend was financial. 20 goals, 79 appearances since joining all the way back in 2024. So, and Spurs owners are exploring an NBA Europe bid in London, joined by the Checketts and Eccles families. NBA Europe playing 12-team league launching in 27. So keep an eye out on that. South African defender Tylon Smith is nearing a move to the Revs. QPR reportedly ready to move on from him. The move is described as imminent. Loan with an option to make it permanent. He was on the AFCON squad earlier this year. Houston Dynamo had added Uruguayan international Marcelo Sarachi. We've talked about that deal. That one's now officially official. Comes from Boca through 28-29 with club options for 2 years to follow. 11 caps for Uruguay. Joins the Dynamo side, which is 4th in defense in Major League Soccer. La Liga returning to ESPN. You've got a boatload of, maybe it's a crap load at this point. Season kicks off on all the platforms this weekend, and you have marquee dates 22nd and 23rd. Real Madrid and Barca both had their season openers pushed back to honor the rest period. ABC is going to get them soon enough on their network. Espanyol hosting Real Madrid Saturday at 3:30. Elche and Barca on Sunday. So between the 2 rosters on the 4-letter networks, you get Yamal, Cubarsí, Ferran Torres, and that's just to kind of get things started. Match day 2, Athletic Club, Sevilla, Atletico de Madrid, Villarreal on the Deuce, Deportes, and the Plus. So that is that's the look there with what you might have when it comes to anything and everything going on in La Liga. We do have our assignments for the Twos and Red Bulls, which is coming up Friday at 3:30 pregame on the network. No, it is not. It is not the first time I broadcast over a drumline. Thank you, Bart. That is true. We do have our crew. John Tamayo is in the middle for the Twos and Red Bulls 2 at 4. Jackson Krauser and Melissa Becker, your ARs. Promise Adebayo Ige is your 4th. So that is Atlanta United 2, Red Bulls 2. The Baby Bulls visiting a training ground. 3:30 pregame and 4 o'clock kick, slightly after 4, like 4:03 on the network for Atlanta United 2 as they are trying to climb the table in the Eastern Conference, which is going to be, we talk about it being crazy, and it really is. Just to give you an idea, there really is no room to flinch in the standings in the Eastern Conference. Crown Legacy's at 46, match in hand on Chattanooga, who's at 43. Revs match in hand at 42. Crew match in hand at 39. Red Bulls 2, 10-8, 4-1. They're at 35 points. They have played 22 matches, as has Orlando City B. They have 2 more wins. That's why Red Bull are in 5th. OCB are in 6th. Atlanta United has a better goal difference over Connecticut United. That's why they are in 7th, and Connecticut United is in 8th. NYCFC 2 is at 33 points in 9th. Chicago Fire 2 is at 33 points in 10th, 1 less win, and they have played 1 more match. So basically, it is 2 points separating 6 teams, 5 through 10 in the standings in the East in MLS Next Pro. Union are at 30 points. TSC 2 is at 28, 1 more win than Huntsville City Football Club. Core are at 26 points with 5 wins. FC Cincinnati 2 is at 16 points. And they are in 15th. And Inter Miami CF2 has been eliminated from any kind of postseason consideration officially. I think this is the earliest I can recall a team being eliminated from a postseason consideration. 8 points, 20 matches played, 115, 4-1. They have given up 49 goals in 20 matches. So that's basically 2.5 goals a match. And they have scored 16 so far on the season. So that's the Eastern Conference. Friday rush hour at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground. If you want to go, check and see if there are tickets. The tickets are free, but you've got to go through Ticketmaster to get them, and you also have to adhere to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium clear bag policy when you come in the door at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground. So all the home matches are at Children's Healthcare for the remainder of this season. So, like I said, free. Go to Ticketmaster, download your ticket, but remember, your bag has to satisfy the Mercedes-Benz Stadium clear bag protocols if you're bringing stuff in. And it'll be a big matchup in the Eastern Conference. They all are, frankly, between now and the run-in. So that's the run down for the run-in, at least this week, when it comes to the Eastern Conference. News out of the Hall of Fame. And this came out yesterday, and I'm trying to find it because the semifinalists are out. And I'm trying to figure out where it was when I saw it. Where is it? I'm going to check which email it was where I saw it yesterday. So are you here? Are you here? Maybe you're here. Where is it? Not having to do with Lineker Rodriguez. Where is that particular email? Because it listed the semifinalists in the 27 listing for the National Soccer Hall of Fame. And so, of course, now that I want to find it, I can't find it. Oh, where's my emails from McGrory? So hang on. Oh, that's not nice. Okay, so let me see if I can find it. So, all right, so I have to type quickly here and try and figure out where they are. It's like I got it in an email. So the National Soccer Hall of Fame sent the email yesterday. And, okay, the semifinalists for the veteran and the builder ballots are out. So the veteran and the builder ballots, class of 27, player ballot is considering players who've been retired for at least 3 years, but no more than 10 is in the screening process. They released all eligible candidates back in July. Veteran ballot is the path to the Hall of Fame for players who've been retired for more than 10 full calendar years. Builder ballot is the path of the Hall of Fame for individuals who contribute to the sport in a non-playing capacity. The 19 veteran semifinalists selected by the Veteran Screening Committee of a list of 127. Next step in the Veteran Committee will be knocking it down to 10. 24-person Veteran Voting Committee determines who gets inducted. Finalist receiving the most votes gets elected. Second finalist may also be elected if they receive 75% of the vote. So veteran ballot semifinalists. Aldo Balsano, David Beckham. You figure he's going in. That's one. Chico Borja, Sean Bowers, Ken Cooper Sr., Lori Fair, Francis Farberoff, Kevin Hartman, Lori Henry, Keith Johnson, Clint Mathis, Shep Messing, Heather Mitz, Victor Noguera, Steve Ralston, Tiffany Roberts, Homari Sawa, Tatu, and Ali Wagner. It is the first year on the ballot for Balsano and Keith Johnson. Then it was Ken Cooper Sr., previously sunsetted and restored to the eligibility list by appeal. So this could be a veteran ballot where you could have a lot of other names. I wonder if they would go to more than just two, because you've got Beckham, you've got Ken Cooper, and yeah, no doubt, Homari Sawa, without question. You've got Clint Mathis, Shep Messing, Heather Mitz, Victor Noguera, Steve Ralston, Homari Sawa, Ali Wagner. That's a loaded list. That is a loaded list on the veteran ballot. Let them all in. 10 builder semis selected by the builder screening committee for the list of 32. Next step for the screening committee to narrow to 4. 24-person builder voting committee determines who gets elected. Builder ballot. Craig Berhalter, Clive Charles, who should already be in, Gene Chisowich, Jay Hoffman, Gordon Jago, Steve Nagosko, Lothar Osiander, Lincoln Phillips, Pia Sundhage, and Frank Yallop. Wow. Good luck. Good luck on that one. Berhalter, Clive Charles, Yago, Nagosko, Osiander, Sundhage, Yallop. That's a boat. Look, I do not envy the selection committees here and the screening committees and the voting committees. I do not envy them in this case. For me, it would be easy. You heard all the ones that are there in the semis. I'm like, yep, y'all go. Narrowing the field to 4 in the builders is going to be tough because you've got 10, Berhalter, Charles, Jago, Nagosko, Osiander, Sundhage, Yallop. That's 7. I've got 7 in the builders ballot, making it to 4. And then just the crazy number. Yeah, good luck on 2. It says the finalist who gets the most votes gets elected. A second finalist may also be elected if they receive 75% of the votes. Who wouldn't? In that list of Beckham, Mathis, Messing, Mitz, Noguera, Ralston, Sawa, and Wagner. And Tatu, if you with the indoor game. Still, I mean, for me, Stevie Jungle and Stan Stamenkovic should also be a part of the discussion, but that's just me. But yeah, the veteran ballot is stacked. So the National Soccer Hall of Fame, good luck selection committees. Maybe you need to just put in more people. Just saying. I didn't know if you saw this either in out of Statesboro. And it was from Blake Williams at Grice Connect. Trilogy Investment Company has closed on a joint venture for Solomon Farms, the 219-acre mixed-use community plan near Georgia Southern. And it is apparently a revised version of the Statesboro Village development approved by the city council back in 25. Updated plans for single-family homes built to rent, student housing, multifamily, and commercial space. Blake Williams with the words. According to the press release, Solomon Farms expected to include more than 1,200 residential units, 4 commercial parcels, multiple phases less than a mile from Georgia Southern. This is the property that is literally across the street from the Clubhouse restaurant and from Tormenta Stadium. Like if you come into Statesboro and you come in from the main drag and you make the right turn on Veterans Memorial Parkway, and then you make the right turn like you're working to park over at Tormenta Stadium, you're going down the road and it's Tormenta Stadium, and then further down it's the Clubhouse. And then if you go to the Clubhouse for lunch or you go there to play games and such, the farmland that was across the street was a part of the project that has always been mentioned by Darren Van Tassel and everybody with attached to Tormenta. And so now we're into that next stage. Trilogy, Alpharetta-based residential development and investment company partnering with RLB Squared, a family office based in Bluffton, South Carolina. Diversified Investment Group, led by Jeff Levitan, supports the transaction as a co-investment partner. Transaction represents the largest land and mixed-use development closing in Trilogy's history. Trilogy's expansion into student housing and traditional multifamily development. 298 fee-simple single-family, 101 build-to-rent townhome, 672 apartment-style student housing beds in the first phase, about 700 cottage-style student housing beds in the second, 300 multifamily units, and 4 commercial parcels. So 1,200 residential units. And that seems to be the next stage of the old Register Road project. So it is now Solomon Farms instead of Statesboro Village, as it was initially thought of for 2025, returned to the development August 19th, and approved 4 annexations and a zoning amendment, adding approximately 9.5 acres to the existing planned unit development. So that's where we are. And so that is the next stage of the projects that are in and around the that are now in and around the clubhouse and Tormenta Stadium, as they continue working on the stadium to complete it. And now they have the residential part across the street from the clubhouse in Statesboro. So the steps keep coming when it comes to those two. What to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. Brought to us by our friends at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. And that link is important. It helps them out, helps us out, helps you out. You get all the BNs, which means you get Libertadores and Sudamericana. That happened last night, and it will happen again tonight. All the BNs, Middle East, North Africa. You get WAFCON, which is this afternoon. The semifinals are this afternoon. You can get that on BN, and it is 4 of the most unlikely semifinalists ever, I think, in this tournament's history. Go back and catch up with our conversation that we had with Ali Howarth, our Africa football expert. We had him on yesterday before the semifinals, so Ali could focus on the semis today. Broke down everything in WAFCON. You get WAFCON, you get AFCON, you get Champions League, you get all of the underage qualifying tournaments for World Cups, all of that in Middle East and North Africa. You get the Portuguese League, the French League, the Polish League, and the Turkish League. You also get links to a lot of the A and B divisions in South America. You get CATV. You get links to Tigo Sports. You get Copa Argentina over at TEC out of Argentina. And you get TVV out of Venezuela, CDO Plus out of Chile, Liga 1 Max Pro out of Peru. And I'm trying to think if there's anybody that I've missed. I don't think so, but you get all of that in one place at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. So what to watch today? Sudamericana was yesterday, so let me slide through it and actually get to what's going on. Super Cup, 3 o'clock, CBS Sports Network, PSG and Aston Villa. Simulcast on TUDN and Univision. Leagues Cup, FS1 has Monterrey, Nashville, and San Diego and Puebla at 8 and 10:15. And Monterrey, Nashville simulcast on TUDN. Apple TV has all 7 Leagues Cup matches. ESPN Plus has UEFA Conference League qualifiers, 2 matches coming up in about 45 minutes. Boise and Sporting San Jose is at 8:30 on the Plus. Ford Madison Greenville is on the Plus. And the Prinks Cup, and if someone could show me a Prinks in action, I would greatly appreciate it. 4 matches in Prinks Cup tonight, 2 at 7, 1 at 8:30, 1 at 9. Huntsville City and Crown Legacies at 8. One Football, MLSNextPro.com, and the Major League Soccer YouTube channel. Paramount Plus has your Super Cup and CONCACAF Central American Cup, Motagua Cartagenas at 9, FAS and Hankook Verdes at 11. So that is your Wall Pass Wednesday as we get you ready for everything. 2 things before we get out of here. TEC, and this could have been very open and kickoffy. In the lead up to the showdown between Bolivar and Sao Paulo in the first leg of the Copa Sudamericana round of 16, this is from TEC. This is their wording. Translated. A minibus identified with the Brazilian team's crest intercepted by the mobile police unit for rural areas with 86.5 kilos of marijuana hidden inside. Worth emphasizing that the Brazilian delegation never used the bus, and according to Brazilian outlet UOL, learned of the incident through the local news broadcast. Operation took place in the Cochabamba area inside the vehicle, which belonged to the Buses Cosmos company, hired by the Sao Paulo side to handle logistics during their stay in the country. Agents found 4 bags containing the drug. 3 drivers responsible for the minibus, which was heading to Santa Cruz de la Sierra, the city where the team was staying, were detained. So, just make sure that's that was crazy to see that one run through. Pro is releasing their assignments of all the leagues. We do not officially have a release on anything involving Major League Soccer yet. So when that does come out, then we will let you know what it looks like in the middle for Atlanta United and for Major League Soccer this weekend. But once again, remember tomorrow, Power Hour, 8:30 to 9:30. We'll have your complete recap of Leagues Cup. We'll get you caught up with Mercer on the men's side. 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, it's going to be the media match, HLUTD.com/live. Mike and Jason upstairs. I'll be downstairs. And we'll be making fun of media members trying to play soccer. So it's always fun as they're going to be going up against, I don't know whom specifically from the front office, but we've seen Lewis Sharp in the past. We've seen Chris Henderson in the past. So we'll see what it looks like tomorrow with the media match. And like I said, we'll have fun staring at people, and we'll see if Maddie takes anybody out. So we'll see what that we'll see what that looks like tomorrow for the media match at 10 o'clock, 8:30 to 9:30 Power Hour, 10 o'clock media match, and then the day is off and running from there. And then Ricky had brought something into the chat, and this might be required reading. Governing body of football in South Korea has issued a public apology after a bombshell report alleged it had spent thousands of dollars on services for foreign referees before or after games in the early 2010s. And yes, the kind of services that you think. This is from Yoon Jung Sho and Jesse Young at CNN. The government's Ministry of Culture, Sport, and Tourism first issued the report in 2016 after investigating corruption in the Korean Football Association. Wasn't made public until last week, 10 years later, when South Korean channel CNN affiliate JTBC obtained the report and published the damning details. 10 years old. The report, which CNN has since obtained from lawmaker Jin Sun-mi's office, found the KFA paid for a certain kind of entertainment at massage parlors on at least 8 occasions from 2011 to 2012 for foreign refs and football officials visiting South Korea. 3 of the matches involved were qualifiers for World Cup and Olympic Games. Statement published on the website Saturday, KFA said it, quote, deeply apologizes for the concern caused by various issues, ranging from a parliamentary hearing and a search and seizure operation to media reports about events from over a decade ago that many members of the association were unaware of, end quote. Added such inappropriate conduct or misuse of corporate cards are absolutely not occurring at present. One example listed in the government report, the national team played Oman September 21st of 2011, trying to find a spot in the 2012 London Olympics. Early hours of the following morning, 4 referees who officiated the match allegedly taking to a business by the KFA, which spent $536. When KFA employees filed the expense report afterward, they reportedly lied, claiming the cost had been for post-match drinking. Similar excursion occurred February 29, 2012, before South Korea played Kuwait in a qualifying match for Brazil. Then again, a referee assessor, March 14, 2012. South Korea was playing Qatar in another Olympic qualifier. In total, KFA spent nearly about $3,950 on certain kinds of entertainment in that 1-year period. Many of these times, KFA employees allegedly filed false expense reports, chalking up the charges to meals, drinks, or standard massages. So that's the first half. So I will leave the rest of that article to the rest of you for your reading, if you should see fit in the future. I'm trying to check my list and see if I've forgotten anything. So we got that. I think, let me run through the papers really quickly and see if we've missed anything. Otherwise, we'll be back at it again at 8:30 tomorrow morning. And we will sit there and we'll blow through what happened with Leagues Cup, and we'll get you ready for the media match tomorrow. So trying to see if I have missed anything, and we'll go from there. All right. That's it for today. And then we'll come back again tomorrow. Once again, 8:30 Power Hour, 8:30 to 9:30. And then the media matches at 10 o'clock. Friday, we'll be guesting, I believe, from our friends from both Beyond Goals and from Apple TV. Get you ready for the weekend. And it's going to be the Friday free-for-all anyway. So whoever shows up, and we'll talk stuff. Thanks to everybody who joined in this morning. As always, it's great to have all of you here. Don't forget, even if you don't know what you're doing like me, join in Dell's Premier League Fantasy, because we all are. And Morning Lokeville, by the way. So I'm trying to see if there's anybody else that I might have missed. It was just on the YouTubes watching. But I think we got everybody this morning. So Nix and Rich and David and Abby and Ricky and obviously Lokeville. Rich Ransom is in this morning. Abby, David. I'm scanning quickly. Let's see. There's Nix. There's Abby. There's me. Bart back from vacation, just hanging out in the office. And I believe that is going to do it. I think we're there. Okay. So back at it again. Once again, thanks to everybody and thanks to y'all for doing everything that you are here with all of us. So since we'll be back here in a little less than 22 hours, Mucho Platiel, play it safe. End of the show. That means I get to do this. Back at it again, 8:30 tomorrow morning. So it's a little less than 21 hours before we're back for a power hour tomorrow to get you ready for your Thursday. A lot of Leagues Cup, Mercer Men. We'll have that for you tomorrow morning from Children's Healthcare Atlanta Training Ground. Mucho Platiel, play it safe. End of the show. That means I get to do this. Bye. Or hit the right button.